Today we have a new chapter, electromagnetic induction. So in this chapter we will see that current can be produced from magnetic fields. So this is some phenomena which is just a reverse of the previous chapter, right? There we had seen that magnetic field is produced due to a current carrying conductor, right? Or magnetism is due to electricity. Now here we are going to see that electricity is due to magnetism, or electric current can be produced from the magnetic field. And this is actually what happens in generator. So in whether it is a thermal power plant or it is a hydroelectric power plant, the current is being produced when a coil rotates in a magnetic field, or when the armature coil rotates in a huge magnetic field. So here we will see how this current is being produced. Okay, we may straight away start our chapter. Welcome to our new chapter, electromagnetic induction. So in the previous class we have seen that a current carrying conductor can produce magnetic field. So this was the arrangement for the experiment. There is a battery with a switch, then it is connected to a conductor, then below this conductor you can see a magnetic compass needle. So the circuit is complete this way, and when we press the switch, the electric current will pass through this conductor, and you can see there is a deflection for the magnetic compass needle. So this indicates that there is a magnetic field present, because a magnetic needle can be influenced by other magnetic field or by a material which is showing some kind of magnetism. So since there is no other material present here having the property of magnetism, and the needle deflects when there is a current pass through this conductor, means that when current pass through this conductor, there is a magnetic field produced around this conductor, and because of which this magnetic needle deflects. So this is what we have learned in the last chapter, right? That means the electric current produces magnetic field. So electric current can produce a magnetic field. That is what we have learned in the last class. So now we will try the reverse phenomena. That means whether we can produce current from the magnetic field. So we have seen that electric current produces magnetic field. Now next we are going to check whether this magnetic field can produce a electric current. So how can we produce electric current from magnetic field? For that we want a coil, and this coil is connected to a galvanometer, and we have a bar magnet here. So we are taking this bar magnet and we are inserting this bar magnet into the coil. So when the bar magnet is being inserted into the coil, you can see there is a deflection. There is a deflection for this galvanometer when this bar magnet is being inserted into the coil. And when the insertion is complete, we can see there is no deflection in the coil, right? So there is a deflection only when the bar magnet is moving through the coil inside, and when it reaches the maximum depth inside the coil, the deflection stops. So one may think that motion of the magnet is causing the needle to deflect. Now we may try another case where the magnet is fixed and we are raising this coil upward. So magnet is fixed and we are moving this coil upward so that the bar magnet will come into the coil. Here again we can see that there is a deflection in the coil when the bar magnet is coming into the coil. And when it reaches the maximum depth inside the coil, or when the bar magnet becomes stationary inside the coil, this deflection stops and the needle will go back to the zero reading. See, so in both cases there is a deflection in the galvanometer. That means either we can keep the bar magnet stationary and we can move the coil, or we can keep the coil stationary and we can move the bar magnet. In both cases there is a deflection in the galvanometer, and the galvanometer is a device that will detect the presence of current in a circuit that we have already learned. So this shows that when there is a motion between this coil and the bar magnet, there is a current produced in the circuit. So in both cases there is a deflection, means the motion of the motion can be stationary, motion can be relative. That means either the coil can move and the bar magnet can be stationary, or the bar magnet can move and the coil can be stationary. So current is induced in the coil due to the relative motion between the magnet and coil. So relative motion means either magnet is stationary and coil is moving, or coil is stationary and magnet is moving. So that is the finding from this experiment. Now when we take this bar magnet out of this coil, again there is a deflection, but this time the direction of the needle is just opposite. So previously when the bar magnet was being inserted into the coil, the deflection was towards a +10, and when the bar magnet is being taken away from the coil, we can see now the deflection is towards -10, and when it is completely out of the coil, again the needle comes to 0. So this way it works. That means when we move the bar magnet away, the needle deflects in the opposite direction. So the direction of the needle are different in both cases. So when the bar magnet is being inserted, the deflection was towards a positive side of the reading, and when the bar magnet was being taken away, then the deflection was towards the negative side of the scale. So in both cases there is a current produced, or in both cases there is a current induced. So that is what we can infer from this experiment. Now we may try by reversing the pole of the bar magnet. So instead of north, now we are taking south pole of the bar magnet into the coil. So now we can see that with the south pole coming into the coil first, we can see the deflection was towards left, or it was towards -10. Previously it was towards +10. So again when there is a change in the polarity, or when there is a change in the magnetic pole, again there is a change in the direction of the current produced. So the deflection reversed when the magnetic pole was reversed. So we may take a summary of this. That means north pole going inside the coil means deflection is towards right. Then north pole coming out of the coil means the deflection is towards left. So that is the first case we have seen. Then we had reversed the poles. So south pole going inside means deflection is towards left. Then south pole coming out of the coil means the deflection is towards right. So it is very clear that when the bar magnet is being inserted or being taken away, there is a deflection in the coil, and the deflection reverses when the magnetic pole of the bar magnet is reversed, and there is no deflection in the galvanometer when it is taken away from the coil or when the bar magnet is stationary inside the coil. So these are things that we can infer from this experiment. So faster the motion of the magnet, faster is the deflection of the needle. So faster motion, faster needle deflection, and the rate at which the current is produced is more, because there is a deflection in the galvanometer means there is a current produced. So faster the motion, there is more current produced. Now we may conclude the result of the experiment. And what are the points that we have seen? So current is induced due to relative motion between the magnet and the coil. Second one, deflection reverses when the poles of the magnet are reversed. This direction of deflection shows the direction of the current. Then third point, faster motion of the magnet will produce faster current in the coil. So the summary or the conclusion of this experiment is now known as Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. There are two parts for this Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. The first law is, whenever there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with the circuit, an EMF and hence a current is induced in the circuit, and this current lasts only so long as the magnetic flux is changing. And there is one more point, the current so produced is called induced current. So that is the first law of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. That means whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with a circuit, so it doesn't matter whether the magnet is moving or coil is moving. The only point is the magnetic flux which is linked with the circuit should change. So when we insert a bar magnet, there will be a magnetic flux around this bar magnet, and that flux now is coming in contact with the coil. And when we insert the bar magnet, there will be more and more field lines which are coming in contact with the coil, and this induces the current. Similarly, when we take away the bar magnet, there will be a lesser and lesser number of magnetic field lines coming in contact with the coil. So again, there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with the coil or with the circuit, and this produces an EMF, and this EMF produces a current, and that current is called induced current. Then second law, the magnitude of the induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the circuit. Magnitude of induced EMF can be found if we know the rate of change of magnetic flux. That is the second law. That is, induced EMF small e is directly proportional to d phi by dt, where phi we know it is the magnetic flux, or induced EMF E small e is equal to a constant k into d phi by dt, But here we take the constant K is equal to 1, and this is how the unit is being defined for this induced EMF. Therefore, we can write induced EMF E is equal to d phi by dt. So, E is equal to d phi by dt is the mathematical representation of the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. And if there are n number of turns for the coil, we may write E is equal to n into d phi by dt. The direction of this induced EMF is found to be opposing the change that produces it. So that is referred as a law which is called Lenz's law. So Lenz's law states that the direction of the induced EMF or induced current is such that it opposes the change that is producing it. So mathematically we may write this induced EMF E is equal to minus n into d phi by dt. So this Lenz's law gives the direction of the induced EMF. So induced EMF opposes the change which is producing the induced EMF. So the direction of the induced EMF is such that this induced EMF opposes the change that is producing it. So it is because of a change in the magnetic flux an induced EMF is produced. So the direction of the induced current or induced EMF is such that it will oppose the change that is producing it, and we will see more into this. That is, if the current is induced due to the motion of the magnet, then the induced current in the coil sets itself to stop the motion of the magnet. So in the previous case we have seen that an EMF is induced in the galvanometer, or there was a deflection in the galvanometer. So the direction of the induced current in the coil is such that it will stop the motion of the bar magnet. So that means what? The motion is the motion of the bar magnet was down, right? We were inserting the bar magnet into the coil. So the direction of the EMF is such that it will oppose, or it will show a repulsive force towards this bar magnet, and we will see it shortly and how it is important, how this idea of Lenz's law is very much important. So this is the case. There is a coil and there is a bar magnet which is to be inserted into the coil. So this is how we are inserting the bar magnet into the coil. So this way the bar magnet is coming down, and when it is coming down, there will be a large number of magnetic field lines associated with this bar magnet, and these field lines will come in contact with these different number of turns while being inserted. Then you take a single turn of this coil. So the number of turns which are coming in contact with this magnetic flux density will increase, right? When it is being inserted, the flux which is coming in contact with this coil will change, and that is why an EMF is induced here. And because of EMF, it is electromotive force, or it is the motive force for the motion of the electrons, and that is why there is a current. So this EMF produces a current, and when this EMF produces a current, we know this coil will act as a bar magnet. So from the previous chapter we have seen that a current carrying coil will act as a bar magnet. So when this coil is magnetized, it will act as a bar magnet. So now this is equivalent to two bar magnets present with the two poles facing each other. So this is how the magnetism is produced in this coil, right? So while this bar magnet was inserting into the coil, the number of field lines which are coming in contact with this coil increases or the flux changes, and as a result an EMF is induced that produces a current. So that current in turn produces a magnetism in this coil. That means what? Now this coil will be having a magnetic field with two magnetic poles, and according to Lenz's law, it should be at the top side of this coil, it should be north pole. Why it is north pole? If it is north pole, then there will be a repulsive force between these two. There will be a repulsive force between the coil and the bar magnet. In such a case, we have to push the bar magnet into the coil, right? So this coil will produce a current that opposes the motion of this bar magnet. That is the essence of Lenz's law. So this coil will produce a magnetic field, right? Or this induced EMF, right? The induced current will produce a magnetic field that will stop the motion of the magnet. Okay. So when the bar magnet is being inserted into the coil, there is an induced current. That induced current in turn produces a magnetic field, and that magnetic field will stop the motion of the magnet. So if that magnetic field has to stop the motion of this bar magnet, then the top end of the coil should be north pole, right? The top end of the coil should be north pole, because there is a repulsive force, and that repulsive force demands what? An external work to be done on this bar magnet for the bar magnet being inserted into the coil. So this is very much important, and this has close relation with the law of conservation of energy. So let us see how it is related to law of conservation of energy. The induced EMF produces a magnetic field for which the magnetic pole is same as that of the bar magnet. So induced EMF produces a magnetic field. So here you can see the magnetic field produced, for which the magnetic pole is same as that of the bar magnet. So for this the north pole, the pole at this top is same as that of this bar magnet. So there is a repulsive force between the magnet and coil. So here you can see there should be a repulsive force between the coil and the magnet, and we have to do a work to push the magnet into the coil because there is a repulsive force, and we are pushing the bar magnet into the coil simply means what? There is an external work done, right? There is an external work done, and thus Lenz's law is in accordance with the law of conservation of energy. So according to law of conservation of energy, there should be some work done for a motion. That is the simplest meaning of this law of conservation of energy. So if a body is moving, there should be some work done. So if this bar magnet is moving down, there should be some work done. So we are pushing this bar magnet, or we are doing some work, and as a result the bar magnet is going inside, and that work is finally being converted to this energy. Then suppose instead of north pole, it is a south pole which is being produced. So what is the meaning of that? If the opposite kind of magnetic pole was produced at the top end of the coil, the bar magnet would have attracted into the coil, or the bar magnet would move without any external work. That means if the magnetic pole produced here was south pole, there will be attractive force between the north and south. Okay, there will be an attractive force between north and south, so that we will see. And then without doing any work, the bar magnet will go into the coil, which is against the law of conservation of energy. So we may show it here. This the opposite kind of pole is produced in this case. So the same experiment, but suppose instead of north pole, suppose here what is produced is the south pole. Okay, here what is produced is south pole. So this is north and this is south. So what is the net result? The net result is the attraction of this bar magnet into the coil, right? So without doing any work, this bar magnet will simply go into the coil. So if we bring this bar magnet very close to the coil, it will be simply going into the coil without doing any external work, and that is against the idea of law of conservation of energy. So that is how this Lenz's law becomes very important. So it is equivalent to, Lenz's law is equivalent to law of conservation of energy in electromagnetic induction. So this kind of induced EMF production will never take place, right? So that is the essence of this Lenz's law. Now actually there are two types of Faraday's experiments. So what we have seen is called coil magnet experiment. So there was a coil and there was a bar magnet, and the relative motion between these two produced a induced current, and this is called coil magnet experiment. So this was the case, and in this case again there were two sections. One is the coil is stationary and we were moving the bar magnet into the coil. In the second part, the bar magnet was stationary and we were pushing this coil into the, we were moving the coil upward so that the bar magnet will come inside the coil. So magnet is stationary and coil moving. So this is called coil magnet experiment. Then there is one more type of experiment possible, that is called coil experiment. So in here there are two coils, one is primary and other one is secondary. So using this kind of arrangement also we can prove this Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. And here the primary is connected to a cell through a switch and secondary is connected to a galvanometer. Then when we close this switch, or when we allow the current to pass through this coil, what will happen? There will be a magnetic field suddenly produced around this primary, and which will be connected to secondary, because primary and secondary are placed very close to each other, and this kind of induced current will not be produced if primary and secondary are not placed close to each other. So if primary and secondary are very close to each other, then the magnetic flux produced around the primary will be linked to secondary, and this flux gradually grows, right? When the switch is pressed, the current will start from say 0 ampere, then 1 ampere, 2 ampere, 4 ampere. Like suppose this battery has a current capacity of 5 ampere. When we press this button or when we close the circuit, the current will start from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So by that time, this magnetic flux will also gradually grow. And that means what? The number of field lines coming in contact with the secondary gradually grows, or the flux changes. The flux linked with this secondary changes, that produce a induced EMF, which in turn produce a current, and there is a deflection in the galvanometer. So a steady current, right? If we press this button, a current is suddenly produced from 0 to 5 ampere, and when the current becomes steady, right? When the current becomes steady, now this flux will not change. Then the deflection will fall back to 0, or the needle will fall back to 0. So only when the switch is pressed, then there is a deflection, because when the switch is pressed, the current suddenly jump from 0 to 5 ampere, and this will produce a magnetic flux, and which is in contact with the secondary, and when this flux changes from 0 corresponding for a corresponding change in current from 0 to 5 ampere, there is a current produced. And when the current becomes 5 ampere, then there will not be a deflection. So both the coils are fixed, both coils fixed. A deflection in the galvanometer when switch is closed or opened. Now when the switch is opened, what will happen? When the switch is opened, suddenly the 5 ampere will fall to 0 ampere. So the 5 ampere will suddenly become 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And when the current fall back to 0, gradually this magnetic flux will disappear, right? These magnetic field lines will disappear by one. That means what? Now the magnetic flux linked with the secondary will change. In this case, the flux decreases, and when the switch is closed, then the flux will increase. So either an increase in the flux with this coil or a decrease in the flux with this coil will produce a induced current. So when the switch is closed or opened, in both cases there is a deflection produced in the galvanometer. So that is one case by which we can produce induced current using two coils. Another one is a steady current in the primary. So there is a steady current in the primary here. So it is unlike the case of closing or opening. So we are keeping this switch closed always. So a steady current is in the primary. Then a relative motion between primary and secondary produces deflection. That means there is a steady current in the primary, and we are bringing the secondary away, or we are bringing the secondary towards to this primary from some distance. So when the secondary is being brought towards the primary, gradually the number of field lines coming in contact with the secondary increases, then there will be a current produced. Or if we take this coil away, then also the number of field lines which are in contact with the secondary will decrease. Then again there is a deflection. Then one more point is that we may fix this secondary here, and we may bring the primary towards secondary, or we may move the primary away from the secondary. In both cases also, the field lines which are coming in contact with this number of turns will change, and there will be a current produced. So in both ways we can produce induced EMF in the galvanometer. So this way we can produce a current, or we can induce a current in the secondary. We can induce a current in the coil. So it is called induced current. Why? Because there is no physical contact between bar magnet or the coil, right? So the bar magnet will induce. It will simply induce the coil to produce a current. That is why it is called induced current. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching.